Now, let's see. Right. Furthermore, I want to remind you, I guess I'm specifically making this video for you, Leo, but either way, noom, and ne, so ne at the end of the first word in the sentence, and noom mean exactly the same thing. So, the question here is, Esne Sparta in Italia, which means, is Sparta in Italy? Question. Num creta opidum est. Notice how the est is now at the end of the word. Sometimes it will be in the middle. It doesn't really matter when it comes to that. But you'll notice that there's a different word here, but the question is still the same. Is Crete a city? It's either yes or no question. And so the way you answer that is with yes, creta opidum est. If the answer is yes, you would answer creta opidum est. But if the answer is no, you would say creta opidum non est, said whatever it actually is. Namely, whether or not it is a fluvius insula or opidum. With these, what you primarily want to look to is basically you want to look to this last part, this last section of the book, of the chapter, and see if you can find the answer. So quid est de, you would answer that the same way you would answer quid est brundisium, but instead of this, you would say, but instead of brundisium, you would be answering the question for de. Well, what is de? Well, let's look back at here and let's see if we can read what de is. Same thing for num delta littera latina est, and esne duo magnus numerus. Well, okay, is it a big number? Well, let's go back and see. You can either use your intuition on that point about whether or not duo is a big number, or you can go back to where they talk about the numbers and see what it says. So last but not least, let's talk about Pensum B. Now, I've actually found Pensum B to be probably the most difficult of the exercises. Here's why. So Pensum A is a grammar exercise, or an endings exercise, really. And then Pensum C is a reading comprehension exercise. And I've just tended to find those two things to be fairly easy. With Pensum B, I found that unless you're coming straight off a fresh, full read of the chapter, it can be a little bit difficult to get the right word. In fact, sometimes I need to read the chapter twice over before I get it. This is me talking about when I read a new chapter, or when I'm reading a chapter in the second volume, for instance. Now, how exactly to do this? Well, I would suggest first completing your writing and doing it directly after you finish your writing, or directly after a reread of the whole chapter. Now, here's what Pensum B is. It's a vocabulary exercise. Now, again, you might think to yourself, well, Mr. Herb, the first chapter, obviously, I only know these vocabulary words that are introduced in this chapter, so that's not a problem. But in chapter, 18 or whatever, there's going to probably be hundreds of vocabulary words that I'll have to think about. How am I supposed to know which one is supposed to be used, especially since, I don't know, maybe there are multiple words which mean the same thing, or multiple words which would fit? How do I know? Okay, so the simple answer is that every single chapter has this word bank on the side, and it's usually right next to Pensum B. Sometimes it's next to Pensum A, but I'm going to say 90% of the time it's very, very close to Pensum B. And what it is it's all the words, it's all the new words, or in this case, all the words that have been introduced in the chapter, which means that the only words that you even have to worry about going into any of these slots for Pensum B are the words which you find in the vocabula. Okay, so let's just take a couple of examples. Sicilia blank est. Italia insula blank est. Rhenus blank est. Brundisium blank est. Sicilia et Sardinia blank magnae sunt. Melita insula blank est. Okay. So let's just go through some of these just to give you a sense of it. So Sicilia blank est. What would go in here? Well, what would make sense? Would it make sense to say Sicilia Romana est? Sicily is Roman? I mean, I guess, but what seems to be the most intuitive answer based off of this chapter's method of describing? Well, let's go back and just look at things. So let's see. This is just talking about location. Okay, so a lot of this chapter seems to be talking about how this, that, or the other thing, nilus fluvius est, or Brundisium oppidum est, or Corsica insula est. Well, okay, so let's try that. Let's say Sicilia insula est. Insula is one of our new words, so Sicilia insula est. Oh, that seems to fit. Sicilia insula est. That makes sense. Sicily is an island. All right, let's go to the next one. Italia insula something est. Well, okay, so what would go there? Well, you have a couple of options. One, you can use an adjective again. So we could say Italia insula magna est. So here comes the next question. Is Italia an insula? Think, what is Italia? It's Italy. Is Italy an insula? No, it's not an insula. It's a provincia. You could say Italia insula provincia est, but that doesn't really make any sense. Italy is a province island. I'm going to say no. So, okay, so what's going here? Well, it's the exact opposite of the truth. So we need something that negates the idea of Italia being an insula. So I have an idea. Let's use this lovely little word right here. Where'd it go? This is embarrassing. Non. There we are. So how about we say Italia insula non est? Italy is not an insula. Oh, that seems to work pretty well. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Rhenus blank est. Well, let's use the same principle here. What is Rhenus? Is Rhenus an oppidum? No, it's not an oppidum. Is Rhenus an insula? No. Instead, Rhenus is a fluvius. Okay, so let's put Rhenus fluvius est. Brundisium blank est. Same principle. Is it an insula? No. Is it a fluvius? No, it's an oppidum. Okay, so Brundisium oppidum est. Fairly simple. Then Sicilia et Sardinia. The only thing that really seems to go here would be insulae. Now, usually, I try to prevent any form of reusing words, but it doesn't seem like there's another option here. So let's stick with that. Sicilia et Sardinia insulae magnae sunt. Remember that you still need to obey the grammar rules. Okay. So Melita insula. Okay, so is Melita an insula magna or an insula parva? It's an insula parva. Okay, so put that. And then it's more or less just the same thing throughout the chapter. Of course, throughout the exercise. Of course, it does get a little bit more difficult, but we can cover that all when you come back. All right, so that should be everything. I hope that explanation was helpful. And yeah, these are the exercises that we will be doing throughout the year. So I really suggest everyone, I really suggest that you make sure you get good at these, basically. All right, have a good day.